Intuitive coach for life and business, helping you live your life and develop the business that you love without burning out because you're using your intuition to follow your heart and your passion. So, I want to invite you today to this slice of life, and we're going to do this on Fridays for now. So, let me know if you like it. And it's just about, daily life as an intuitive, just hopefully to inspire you to listen to and to trust your intuition in your daily life for sometimes it's going to be mundane things, but sometimes like today it's going to be a little bit more extraordinary. So, um, by the way, if there's anything that you want to know about me, about my life, about being an intuitive, if it's not something that I answer on the Q&A Mondays or a training on the Wednesdays, if it's more personal to me, then it's the slice of life today. So ask me about how is it that I define, how is it that I came up with this? And this is a type of questions that I will be answering for you in this group on Fridays. So, this episode, and let me know if you can hear me too, because I'm using the microphone for the first time. So, I don't know if the sound is really good. I would appreciate it if you're watching this, if you can let me know that the sound is working properly. Um, so, this episode of Slice of Life is that time I was face to face with a big snake in a sacred waterfall in Brazil. Cue intro music. So, yes, I went to Brazil for a 2 week spiritual retreat. That was back in 2010, 11. I looked at pictures yesterday, but I forget the time. It's like a time warp. It's like a lifetime ago almost. I was still working for the federal government. At that time, I was still emerging as an intuitive healer, as a coach. I was just starting on the Reiki journey. And I had met someone on Facebook. Facebook was quite different 10 years ago, wasn't it? And I had met someone, she had reached out to me and she said, I'm a guide for this John of God Casa retreat in Brazil. And I know you're a Reiki practitioner. I love your vibe. I think that a retreat would serve you very well in developing your intuition and your connection to spirit. Well, that was like a Facebook contact, someone I didn't know. I kind of brushed it aside, but then I went and Googled John of God, and the things that I found were like gross, honestly. People really lost into that spirituality, almost like trance-like, and I thought, I don't think I want to have an experience where I'm trance-like when I lose control of what I'm doing or what I'm feeling, because that loss of control, that was a very scary point for me. Still is a little bit, right? So I didn't want to just totally lose control in front of strangers and not know what I'm doing. The other thing they were doing that was really strange is that they had these psychic surgeries, and they would actually, John of God in his trance like would put a big hook or some other instrument inside the person's nose and kind of wiggle it a little bit, and then yeah, that was our psychic surgery, and I thought that is just gross. I don't want anything up my nose. And he would also take things like a dirty knife and cut um, tumors or other things from people's bodies. And apparently, these people did not suffer any side effects and they did not feel the pain because they were in this trance like state. I was thinking, no, this is not for me. So, I put that aside and wanted nothing to do with go to John of God based on what I found on Google. Then a few years later, because it was still in the back of my mind, perhaps a retreat would be good for me to develop my intuition, and it would be something different. I was still working in the federal government, still trying to find my way, find my passion. So I think it was around Easter time Aprilish. I woke up one morning, so still in between the dream state and the waking state, and I heard, Jazz, you're going to Brazil. It's time. Now, I'm not a morning person. And I'm not always like, oh, thank you, guides. Thank you for your message. Um, you know, I'm not always like that, especially if someone wakes me up in the morning. So my answer was more like, "Huh? What?" Not not very sexy at all. Um, so yeah, I just asked what, and then I heard it again. So that's the clairaudience that I didn't know I had, which was already coming online. And the voice said again, Jazz, you're going to Brazil. It's time. So I'm sharing this with you for two things. So one, yes, I did hear the clairaudience, but also notice the quality of the words. Jazz, you're going to Brazil. It's time. So that is a divine message. When the divine message is short, to the point, and clear, it's often something from the divine because angels have never been incarnated. A lot of spirit guides have never been incarnated. They don't know emotions. Emotions happen when we are incarnated. So if the voice would have said, Jazz, it would be so good for you, it would develop this, you would become such a great healer if you went to Brazil, not spirit guide. That's ego. Ego always seeks to boost your inner self. Spirit gives you the direction. The next right step is really clear. Like, Jazz, you're going to Brazil. It's time. Well, when I heard that, I fully woke up, of course, looked around the room. There was no one, so I didn't know who had just spoken to me. And then my ego mind was waking up and was thinking, I can't go to Brazil. We already have a trip planned later this year. I don't have the money. My husband is going to freak out. He's not going to want to let me go to Brazil for 2 weeks on my own. Spend all that amount of money for what? Like a spiritual retreat. It's not something he's going to understand. And I had, excuse after excuse after excuse of why I shouldn't go. And then I just stopped myself. And I was just standing, in my pajamas on my way to the bathroom. So again, not very sexy. And I just said, stop. And I said, okay, fine. You want me to go to Brazil? I will accept that. But you better make darn sure that everything happens in a way that is easy and that the money is in my bank account and, that everything goes easy for planning and booking the trip. And do you know what? 2 days after, I found the courage to tell my husband, you know what? I think it would be time for me to have a retreat. And he just said, of course you should go to Brazil. Of course you should have a retreat. And I was just like, is this my husband talking? And everything, all the bookings and everything went really, really nice. So I was off to Brazil in August. That's winter down in Brazil. And for 2 weeks, just a wonderful retreat. I did not have a thing up my nose, at least not physically, but I did have a psychic surgery where I felt something going up my nose, but thankfully no big metal things going around. That would be still not okay with that. So 2 weeks in Brazil. Part of the retreat is that you just meander down the mountain because the Casa, the John of God Casa, is on a mountain and there's lots of crystals in that mountain. You can feel the energy. And so you meander down. Part of the mountain is kind of a hidden trail a little bit, and then there's a waterfall. And that's a sacred waterfall. And as you go under the waterfall and you feel the rush of the waterfall on you, it cleanses away so much of the energy. It's almost undescribable what happens as you walk in that waterfall. And it's not because the water is not super cold, even if it's Brazilian winter. Like locals were freezing, but it was like plus 15 degrees Celsius. So to me, it's like, yeah, that's Canadian spring, right? No big deal. I don't need my gloves and mittens. So the water's not super cold, but when it comes on you, it still gives you that that kind of rush of energy, like you know something big is happening, right? So I went to the sacred waterfall, and you have to wait your turn because it's only one at a time under the waterfall. And you have to wait until the person before you has exited the sacred area before you can enter. So it's a lot of prayers, a lot of meditations, a lot of getting ready to release something when you finally get into the waterfall. And in those days, I felt really, really close, and I was praying quite a bit to Isis and Osiris and ancient Egyptians. So I get into the sacred waterfall. It was my time. And waterfall, because it's winter, there's less water. Was less water. So it's like a little stream. So you would think like Niagara Falls. It's not Niagara Falls. It's like a a little stream, like a big powerful shower. So I get under the waterfall, splashes everywhere, just clearing stuff, just feeling gratitude, gratitude, gratitude for the guides, for the gods, for the goddesses. Thank you, Isis. Thank you, Osiris. Thank you, Sekhmet. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I open my eyes. So the land was just about like just a little bit over my head for the waterfall, right? It's really not that big. But as I open my eyes, right here in front of me, there's a snake. And it's beige, so it's the same color as the dried grass because in wintertime it's like it's dry. So all, the grass is all that yellow color, but this was a snake and it was coiled up like this. It was pissed off at me because it was probably receiving all of the stuff from the waterfall was on it. And there's a cobra, and I thought it was gonna bite me. And being in Brazil, I don't know if the snakes are poisonous, venomous or not. So the snake was right there looking at me. Now, why that snake was not there for the person before me, it was there just for me. That's an interesting synchronicity, don't you think? Because no one before me saw the snake, but it was there for me. So I thanked the snake. I didn't linger because I still, have a mind for my personal safety. When you don't know snakes, you don't know if they're going to bite, you don't know if they're venomous, you kind of walk away. So I just made my way away from the waterfall and warned the people after me that there was probably a snake, but nobody else saw the snake. So isn't that interesting? So that is my story of being called to go to Brazil, to the John of God, um, the Casa in Brazil, and meeting that snake in the waterfall. So, snake, some significance of snake. Of course, working with ancient Egyptians, the pharaohs would always have a cobra on their crown, and they had cobra had a big significance in terms of empowerment and transformation. So, cobra snakes are always a symbol of spiritual empowerment. Also, in the divine feminine, the snake is a power of the empowered feminine. You see a lot of old statues, clay statues of ancient goddesses brandishing snakes and brandishing, they have snakes over them or coiled over them. So it's a symbol also of sensuality, owning your power, um, being confident, facing your fears. Snake is all about these transformation. And of course, those of you who might have grown up Catholic like me, there's a lot of statues of Mother Mary with snakes under her feet. So as if she's banished the snakes or she's, putting an end to the snake. That's not really Mother Mary's role, but that is the Catholic, in my opinion, that is a Catholic Church's role when they wanted to banish the empowerment of women when patriarchy really took hold. So it was quite interesting at that moment in my life to be faced with the snake, faced with that fear. I wasn't really fearful, although I was cautious for my life because I didn't want a snake bite. But just facing all of that, releasing all of that, it was just such a powerful thing to receive in terms of an animal totem. What changed in my life after? Well, when I came back, tried to reintegrate normal life after 2 weeks this is just one thing that happened in the 2 weeks that I was there. It was hard to reintegrate normal life. And then I knew in my heart of hearts that leaving the federal government, it wasn't a long-term plan. It wasn't in 5 years. It wasn't in 10 years. It wasn't in 15 years. It was now. The time was now. There was something that switched inside of me that said, no, you're building your business now. You're starting now. You're a healer now. And I couldn't stay longer in the federal government, especially that my supervisor at the time was so not open to this type of discussion. And so I quit the federal government not long after, like in the same year. I went to Brazil in August, and I think it was December when I left the federal government. So it was really life changing, but in a good way, because now I really know the importance of developing that clarity of your purpose, developing the confidence for you to say yes to your soul, to say yes to those divine nudges, and to follow your passion and your purpose. To me, that's how life is meant to be lived, a life of passion and of purpose connected to the divine. I don't want to live life any other way. And if you're ready to let go of anything that is in your way from living your purpose, living your joy, your fun, well, then contact me. I have 2 spots for a 6-month coaching program that's available that can help you reveal your purpose and your clarity so you can actually live it. So let me know what you think of this slice of life with Jazz with the snake in Brazil. Put that in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading from you. And remember to reach out if it's your time and you want to wake up the snake within your big transformation, facing your fears, and passionately, courageously live your life. Big hugs from my heart to yours. See you soon. Next Q&A is on Monday. Bye for now.